Hey y'all, what's going on? Finally got my car together, and now I'm telling you, my car has had me stressed out all week. It's been a long, rough week. Now that it's fixed and everything, I'm just, I'm real gun shy. So every time I get to the car and it's about to, I'm about to start it up, my stomach start hurting and I get nervous because I be like, please don't let it be nothing else with this car. And then I have a little touch of the old OCD, so I worry about it even when it's nothing wrong. I'm just worried at night and hadn't been able to sleep good and everything. So yeah, this weekend is going to be one of those of rest. I need to get my shit back together so I can, feel normal again. I've just been off, nervous and stressed all week. So yeah, anyway, all that being said, this is a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blog. So let's get to it. Why do I look discolored to y'all? I feel like I look green. I don't know. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Anyway, you guys, serious stories first. We must talk about the child that was left in the hot car out here in Marietta, Georgia, which is just like a little, a little city outside of Atlanta. There was a man by the name of Justin Ross Harris who was supposed to be dropping off his son at daycare one morning. He stopped at Chick-fil-A and they had breakfast. And then he carried on to work, parked his car in the sun, locked it up, and went into the office for 7 hours. Within those 7 hours, on his lunch break, he went back to his car, opened his driver's side door, looked like he placed something in the car, then went back into the office and went on to finish his day. What Mr. Ross failed to do in those 7 hours is remember that his child, 22-month-old Cooper Harris, was still in the back seat in a rear-facing car seat, and basically the child cooked to death in the back seat of his car. Now, of course, the father is saying that he forgot that the child was in the car, that he didn't remember to drop the child off at the daycare center, and that it was all a horrible accident. The autopsy reports show that the child died of hypothermia, which was expected because he had just been seen at Chick-fil-A, and they have proof of that. He was at Chick-fil-A with his kid. So unless he had killed the kid in the backseat of the car, it was expected that it was going to be hypothermia that the boy died from. Out here in Atlanta, Georgia, I have my air running right now. There's no way that I can sit in the backseat of my car for any more than maybe 2 minutes without feeling like I am going to die. It's very hot here. There's no day that's less than 90 degrees out here in the summer, and that's not even counting the fact that the humidity is at this high horrible level, which makes it even hotter. And then of course, if you're in a car parked in the sun and with the windows rolled up, then yeah, you basically are sitting in an oven. Sadly enough, little baby Cooper succumbed to the heat. So everyone was talking about how it was horrible for the father, and there was all this pity and Facebook pages, and they had things set up where he was getting donations, and everybody was feeling for him because he did put on quite I won't say he put on a show. I will say that he was very distraught, from the looks of it when he realized it. The police was there at his office. He worked for Home Depot, the corporate office out here in Atlanta, and everyone said that he just fell out. He was upset. He couldn't believe he forgot his kid is just dead in the backseat of the car. Well, after the police decided to investigate further, within the investigation they confiscated his computers. I would imagine that that's standard in cases like this, just to cover your bases. And on his office computer, he searched how long does it take to kill an animal in a hot car. So this changes the scope of the investigation. I mean, originally, I think they were still going to charge him with, child neglect and I think it was negligent homicide. Now that they have this proof that he searched that, which is just, on top of it being stupid that you do something like that on a computer that can be traced back to you. I mean, nothing is ever gone. Once you go into Google and Google something, it's always there. It's always a way for IT or the police department or whoever to pull up the information. So it was stupid of him to do something like that. But just the fact that he was able to, I mean, I mean, you can't even really fathom, how could you kill your child in such a, I mean, really, how could you kill your child, period? But for the child to have to suffer in such a horrible way, I mean, dying by heat, I mean, that has got to be one of the worst ways to die for an innocent child, especially. So just stone crazy. Okay, now that they got this information, it looks like they're going to charge him with child cruelty, homicide, and a number of other charges. But just crazy. You don't never really hear about stories with a father killing their child. I don't know the particulars. Like, I don't know if he's married to the mother. I don't know if maybe he was if he was separated from the mother, divorced from the mother, or maybe it was his time to have the kid. I don't know if there were any financial issues, child support issues, maybe problems with the mother. I don't really know all of that. I didn't look that far into it. I have a feeling that it's going to come out that usually these type of things are financial, which is so super sad, because I mean, why are you killing your child? I mean, there's so many. I mean, be a deadbeat dad. I mean, if you're going to be known as a murderer, then I don't understand why you just don't step out of the child's life. If it really has to come to something like this, just terrible. And then it's just psychopathic that a father would do this to their son. I mean, you hear about mothers killing their children, problems with, post-traumatic stress, and not post-traumatic stress, postpartum stress and things like that. But I mean, you never really hear stories about fathers killing their kids like this. So, I mean, just got to be just a whole nother special case of crazy. And I don't think they've even formally charged him with anything, but on the court of public opinion, I mean, we have already said that this man has killed his child. If he hasn't, it's very peculiar that you would search something like that, unless you were trying to find information on how to do it. So prayers go up for the family of little Cooper Harris, the mother of the child, and everybody else who loved him. So I just can't believe the stories that I got for you guys today. Some of them are just totally crazy. So yeah, that's one of them. The second crazy story that I have for today, there was a missing kid in Detroit, Michigan by the name of Charlie Bothwell, Bothuell. His father, Charles Bothwell, whatever his name is, and the stepmother reported the boy missing just about 2 weeks ago. And there's been this whole, cry of support, and you know how it goes when there's a child that's missing. Sympathies for the parents, and a lot of news coverage, a lot of media coverage, and it's just, how these things go. Well, Mr. Charles Bothwell was on Nancy Grace. I think this is the second time that he was on the show. You guys know that Nancy Grace has a special, holds a special place in her heart for stories like this. He was on the show at the time, and they were discussing the fact that this boy has been missing for almost the last 2 weeks. And then you guys know Nancy Grace, in the overly dramatic way that only Nancy Grace can be, she goes, "We are getting reports that your son was found in your basement." The man is just sitting there like he don't know what to say, speechless. Okay, and she's just like, "Sir, we are getting reports that your son has been found alive inside of your basement." And Charles is befuddled and stupefied. Okay, he was just like, my son? Well, how's that possible? And Nancy says, "Well, did you check the basement?" And he was like, "Of course I checked the basement. I checked the basement. The FBI checked the basement. The police department checked the basement. My wife checked the basement. Everybody checked the basement. There was no son there." So I don't really know what to say about the case. They're saying that this young boy, 12 years old, was found down there in the basement, and he was barricaded. They said there was no way that he could have barricaded himself. He was behind a bunch of boxes and some large unit that contained some fluid or something. And they said that it looked like he had just recently gotten there. He didn't look like he was being restrained. There was no urine or fecal matter there, so you could tell that where he had probably just gotten there, or he had access to a bathroom, or both. Just crazy. All right, so while Charles got to get his ass from Nancy Grace on up to back to his house, He gets there, the media of course is all out there, and you know, he puts on, I won't say it's show again, but he's all, you know, this is my son. I can't believe, you know, for people to insinuate that I did something to my son is just absurd and ridiculous. I'm just like, you know what? It's not absurd because your son has been gone for fucking 2 weeks, and then he just magically shows up in a basement that was checked 1,000,000 times, even with a cadaver dog. Okay, so no, it's not absurd for everybody to be looking at you with this extreme fucking side eye, like, Negro, please. If he didn't have something to do with it himself, and the police are not saying that directly, however, they've got their ways of putting it out in the media that they had some suspicions of this dad the whole time. They even said that the reason why they went back to the basement after they checked so many times is because of something the father said that led them back there. Okay, so they're not really saying what it was. They had a search warrant, and I guess they expected the boy to be there, and he was. And then the story is even crazier because on an unrelated case, the stepwife was arrested on a probation violation on some weapons charges. So don't really know what exactly is going on in the Bothwell house. Okay, but the police took the boy. Like I said, he's 12 years old. They're questioning him. His dad and his stepmother haven't had any access to him, you know, and I think they said they turned the boy back over to custody of the mother. But you better believe that they're grilling that boy and trying to figure out what the story is. I have a feeling that it's going to be another case of the damn balloon boy incident. Y'all remember when they were saying that the boy was in the balloon and the balloon crashed, and you know, and then it turned out that the boy was at the house and they was just trying to get, you know, attention, and was hoping for stories of getting paid money and all this shit. I just have a feeling that it's going to be one of these things again. Okay, we're going to find out that he wanted some money. He was hoping he could sell his story to the media. You know, the boy was going to magically appear back at the house, and y'all know how it goes. People are so fucking crazy. You need that much goddamn attention? I mean, they haven't said that. They have not said that, but I have a feeling something like that is going to happen. I don't really think that kid was ever really in danger, other than the fact that he just got some old crazy ass parents, step parent, whatever. It's just stupid. So, yeah, the police is trying to keep their eye on this story as well. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that the father is involved in this whole botched kidnapping slash, you know, missing child thing, or do you think that it's, you know, a little bit more to the story? And I mean, who breaks into a house to return a fucking kid that they kidnapped? We gonna definitely hear more about this story, because kid's 12 years old. He is definitely gonna talk with the pressure of the police and the FBI on him. So yeah, just letting you guys know. Crazy stories, right? The On the Run tour is off to a great start. A couple of days ago on Wednesday, they kicked off the tour in Miami, and I have heard nothing but great stories about, you know, the concert. Definitely not without its little mishap. The biggest mishap that I heard from the concert would be the fact that there was traffic. Terrible, terrible traffic. I think they said a couple of hours worth of traffic, and people that were trying to get there for a show that started at 8 p.m. were, you know, threatened to miss half or maybe even almost all of the goddamn show. The good thing about that is obviously Beyonce and Jay-Z were aware of the traffic jam and the issues that was going on with the traffic, and they held off the show. Instead of starting at 8 o'clock, they almost started at 10 o'clock, waited for the stadium to get just, you know, just about as full as they expected it to be if it were to start on time, and there weren't any issues, and then they put the show on. So, you know, people still was able to catch the show. It was an extensive show. I think they said some of the playlist somewhere around 40 to 50 songs long, you know, with a good mixture of Beyonce and Jay-Z. Actually, I've heard that it was more Jay-Z than Beyonce. However, all the damn videos that I've seen is mostly Beyonce. Okay, so, you know, people still is really just mostly interested in Beyonce. So another one of the mishaps is the fact that they didn't have much security slash parking attendants slash ushers for the people that were going to the concert. So it was a lot of, you know, confusion about where people were supposed to park, a lot of confusion about where people were supposed to sit, a lot of confusion with the seats. I guess the seating arrangements changed at the last minute. So, you know, all them logistics that doesn't have to do anything with the concert per se were the problems. The concert itself went off without a hitch once Jay-Z and Beyonce, hit the stage. It's a family themed concert, and it looked like from the videos that I've seen that it's all real cute to me. These two are smart to capitalize on their marriages. Everybody is always so so curious about the shit that goes on with Beyonce and Jay-Z, especially with all the shit that's happened to them in this year, in this past year. I started thinking to myself, like, well, fuck, all of that might have been a damn ploy for everybody to be so curious about their marriage, so that when you did buy tickets to the concert and then you saw all of the pictures and the videos, because they actually had quite a bit of pictures and videos up on the stage showing, their everyday life, their studio life, their vacations, the baby Blue, even had pictures of her bare stomach when she was pregnant. So they definitely capitalized on all of the suspicion and the curiosity that surrounds their marriage and their relationship and all of that. Very smart. If they haven't sold all these tickets, if there's still a lot of tickets available, the more that they go from city to city, the more that these tickets will sell. If you guys had gone to the concert, you guys let me know, what you thought and what was the good and the bad. Jay-Z, looked like Jay-Z. Beyonce looks beautiful, and she's really tiny but still shapely, and all the designers, who are the who's of the designers, have all got her costumes together and everything. So yeah, just y'all let me know what y'all thought about the On the Run tour. And then, in unrelated reports, Solange, who just turned 28 years old the other day, it is rumored that she's now engaged to longtime boyfriend Alan Ferguson. I did not know that she had a longtime boyfriend. They're saying that they've been together for 5 years. I just have heard her, over the years of her, being rumored to be with different people. I remember there was a time when they said that she was with Wale, and that wasn't more than 5 years ago. And I've heard different stories about a bunch of other little people, but I mean, obviously it was rumors if they're saying that she's a long time, girlfriend of this guy. Now, Alan Ferguson, I tried to Google who he was because I didn't know who he was, so I Wikipedia'd him, and all it said was that he was 51 years old and he's a damn video director, and bitch, that's all the fuck you gonna get on Alan Ferguson. They ain't got shit else on him on Wikipedia, so I don't know if you guys know more about who he is or what he does. I mean, he's a video director, and he's worked with Beyonce, and they said Katy Perry, and what's them white kids, the boys, the group, I can't even remember the name of, what's the name of the group that said, I keep wanting to say Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That ain't the name, but it starts with an F. Fast Fallout Boys, I think that's the name of it. So don't know too much about Allison. Don't know too much about Alan Ferguson, other than he's 51 years old and he has asked the love of his life, Solange, to marry him. 23-year difference. So that's interesting. Saw the picture of him. He's a good looking guy. So all I will say is congratulations to Solange and Allison. Allison. Why do I keep wanting to call him Allison? All I will say, again, let's try it again, is congratulations to Solange and Alan, as well as congratulations to B and J for kicking off a tour that looks like it's going to be quite a success for them. Columbus is out of a job on scandal. He's out of a house because his wife has a restraining order against him. And it looks like Mr. Columbus Short is also out of $21,000 just about after he did not show up for divorce proceedings at the courthouse. Don't really know what's going on with Mr. Columbus Short, but what he needs to do is get it to fuck together, okay? The judges today do not take too kindly to you ignoring a direct order for you to show your ass up in court. Doesn't make sense when it's something involving the finances of support, spousal and child support. He didn't show up for court. The judge decided to overwhelmingly rule in his ex-wife's favor. She's supposed to get somewhere around $17,000 in spousal support because I don't believe she worked in the 9 years that they were married. I think they have 2 kids together. The kids are ordered for just about $4,200 in child support monthly. And granted, you know, I think if he's in California, from what I understand, in California, you only have to pay spousal support for half of the time of the years that you were married. So you would only have to pay that for 4.5 years. But when a nigga ain't got a fucking job, 4.5 years might as well be 40 fucking years. Okay, so I don't really know what Columbus is gonna do. That is a whole lot of money. I have a feeling that he probably would not have been ordered to pay as much as had he showed his ass in court. But you know, it's like directly, you really are disrespecting the court when your ass don't show up. So something tells me that the court is quite sick of Columbus. Columbus has gotten in a lot of trouble in the past. I've talked about it here on the channel. Him beating up everybody in the fucking bar, his woman, really doing the most. Don't know what's going on with Columbus. Sounds like he's in the midst of a nervous breakdown. I don't know if it's any drugs and alcohol involved, but it is something where brother man is not in his right mind. So, you know, we gonna stretch out the hands of faith to Columbus. Lord, touch right now, Mr. Columbus, whatever he's going through, get that mind right and make sure that he shows up in court for any other time that they need him to come there. In your name we pray, amen. And it's done. I do feel like he needs something. Something is definitely going on with him, and I don't think that this is even really the bottom for him. So, unfortunately, so I feel like we're going to see more of the bad that happens to Columbus before things look up for him. But yeah, Columbus, you better get that checkbook ready, okay? $21,000. Oh, and $25,000 for her legal fees. That's a whole lot of money. I don't know why it looks dark in here. I hope you guys can see me good. Anyway, The View. Looks like it's going to be a shakeup over at The View now that Barbara Walters has left the show. I think Barbara, it's still her show, right? I believe she's still the executive producer of the show. Anyway, Barbara Walters has retired, and now it looks like they're getting rid of almost everybody on the damn show and about to just do a whole new revamp. Now, Whoopi Goldberg is expected to stay. I guess her contract was renewed and she will be there. However, Sheri Shepard and Jenny McCarthy are both leaving the show. Sheri Shepard, I think they said that she's been on the show 7 years. Jenny McCarthy hasn't been on there as long as Sheri Shepard. I think she's only been there like a year or two, right? Whatever the deal is, they're getting rid of both Sheri Shepard and Jenny McCarthy. They said that Sheri Shepard and the you know, the creators, the producers of the show could not agree on her contract. And that it was time for everybody to part ways. It's rumored that they might be replacing them with some men, which I don't really know how that's going to work out. I mean, you know, the whole view, the dynamics of the show was that it was supposed to be the view of women. And I know their targeted audience, at least when they first started, was, you know, women. You know, it's a lot of stay-at-home moms that are watching TV during the days, daytime television, and that was their targeted audience. But now I guess, you know, they're feeling like maybe they want to also try to target in on some of these sorry ass men that stay in the ass. I'm just kidding, men out there that's home during the day. It's hard out there. I know everybody ain't working. So yeah, I guess they have decided that they want to exchange the targeted audience. That's all rumored though. They haven't said for sure if that's really what is what. Right now, the only person that I've heard name thrown out there that will probably be going to the show, can't get my words together, is Layla Ali. And I think Layla Ali would be a good little match for the show. I think she's guest hosted on the show. I think I've seen her in the past. Layla Ali is real even keel, and I think she won't pose any type of, you know, challenge to anybody that's on the show. So we will see what happens. Has not been the best year for Sheri Shepard. She's still going through her issues with both of her ex-husbands, or, you know, the one that is soon to be the ex-husband, as well as her old ex-husband, you know, with as far as them trying to get money out of her, child support, you know, trying to get child custody, both of them trying to take the kids, one that's not even born yet. So yeah, Sheri's got drama. I'm sure Sheri's been stacking them checks over these years and she's gonna be fine. But I wonder what's going to be next in line for Sheri. I just, you know, to be a comedian and then to be on The View, and, you know, it'll just be interesting where her steps are ordered next. So, who do you guys think would be a good host for The View? Who else? I don't know. Would you guys want to see a man on the show? I mean, I guess it would be okay, but I just really think that it would change, you know, the whole gist of the show and what it was supposed to be. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think. Who you think should replace Jenny McCarthy and Sheri Shepard? Alright, you guys, for those of you who even care, Drea has said that she's getting rid of her fake boobs because they make her look too stank. I don't know if fake boobs make You look stank. However, when you are a small framed girl and you have the fake boobs, it does give you that kind of vixen-ish, maybe pinup girl look is more appropriate. You know, Drea's got her man, and she's doing a lot to try to shed that whole video vixen, you know, Black Men's Magazine model, you know, persona that she's always had. You can go back and look at her old pictures and look at what she's trying to do now, and everything is on this whole positive. She's even gotten rid of her long nails. Okay, she doesn't really do the weave like she used to do. She's changed considerably the way she dresses. Everything is her family. She doesn't party as much, and you know what? Good for her. She's working really hard to shed the image. You guys remember when she was talking about, she was on that radio interview, and she said that she just thinks that over time your whole image should be just deleted from your past. You guys know my stance on that. Your reputation never really is gone away. Okay, everybody is always going to remember your reputation, and that's evidenced in her social media. They give her the blues. People are always over her, all over her on the shit that she's done in the past. She's you know, and even though over time that shit'll die down some and everything, she is never gonna 100%. Mind is going so much faster than my mouth. She is never going to 100% be able to shake that. But I still say good for her. You know, if you want to start getting taken seriously in the business world, entertainment today, and you want to start being sponsored, or you want designers to, you know, start looking to you to start dressing you and things like that. These designers today, I'm talking about the real designers, not these Instagram designers and, you know, the Instagram dresses and all of that shit. I'm talking about real respected designers. Do not make their clothes to fit that shape. They want their clothes to hang on you almost like it would on a hanger, so that you can see the cut of the outfit. They want you to see the way it flows. They want you to see the way it fits a body. They want you to see the colors, or they want you to see what it is that they've created. And if your motherfucking ass is busting, your titties is busting out the, you know, the top of it, and your ass is so fucking big that, you know, you can't barely pull the pants up, and, you know, you got to do all this recreation to the clothes just so your ass can wear them. Okay, the designers are not really trying to help you out. I know that, you know, the fake titties, the fake booties is all real popular right now, especially the asses, which has just gotten so out of hand and ridiculous. Even when you see these people with these big asses on TV and all of that, in reality, that is just not what the designers want. The designers are very smart, however, so if you are a humongous name like a Nicki Minaj or, you know, someone like that, then of course they make their exceptions. But for the most part, designers not trying to dress you big ass, big titty bitches, okay? So she said she's getting her boobs taken out in September. Will people start taking out their big boobs, or stop getting these ass injections or fake asses, or do you just think that this is just a personal decision that Drea has made, and you know, that the trend will carry on as it has? To me, I have no problem with plastic surgery at all. However, I think that, you know, with anything else, there are limitations, and that where you actually still look normal, and when it starts to get circus-like and everything, it's time to stop. Okay, so you guys look out for a slimmer and more streamlined Drea in the near future. So the news in the sports world is whether or not Bron is going to take his ass back to Cleveland and play basketball. I will tell you right now that that is an absolute no. Okay, it never was an idea. It was never going to happen. You know, Savannah, his wife, she posted on Instagram a picture of Akron, which is, you know, where she's from, Akron, Ohio, and she said something like, "So glad to be going back home." And everybody and their mama thought that that meant that LeBron James is going to opt out of his contract and go back to Cleveland to play there. Okay, we all forgetting how he left Cleveland, okay, after he had been there for 7 years, couldn't get any support on the court, couldn't get any support from the coaches, from the office, okay, from the owners. Just like all this drama that went on, and he left his ass out of there on just some of the worst conditions. Although I know Cleveland would take him back with no problem, I just think that it is really ridiculous for people to think that. I mean, Savannah and LeBron are from Akron, Ohio, and she's probably just glad to be going home on a break on the off season. You know, she's pregnant, her family is there. She wants, you know, she's always been big on being around her family. I think that when they first went to Miami, I think she stayed in Akron. I mean, so, you know, she is definitely a home girl and wants to be there. And I don't know why people thought that he was going there. Now, I know he's opted out of his contract, but that's a business move, you guys. We got to think about the business first. But he don't need to go back to Cleveland. They ain't done no changes there where it's like a drawback for him. Even though he's got his eye on certain things, I just really don't believe that he's going to leave Miami. He'll be back there with Bosh, with Dwayne Wade. And something about this new kid that they just drafted, you know, he seems to be excited about. So yeah, I think that he's going back. I don't know why people y'all kill me. Everybody, once shit get rolling on the media, and on the social websites, it just takes off from there. And it just, like, you know, common sense be damned. I mean, I don't know this shit for a fact, but I can just pretty much tell you that he might end up somewhere else. I'll say this: he may end up somewhere else, but it won't be fucking Cleveland. And I'm almost willing to bet that he'll be back in Miami. So that's it, y'all. Stop with all the stop it, y'all. Just stop it. Follow-up story we got here: Zendaya Coleman. Okay, last week I said the girl was Latina, and everybody corrected me that the child was black and white. Okay, listen, I told you guys that I didn't care enough to even research the shit. I didn't know much about her. I just have seen pictures of her and everything. But you know, so what I said still stands. I think the girl will be fine. We got into quite a spirited discussion on my comments last week about whether the fact or not the girl is light skinned or not. Now, I don't really know what people consider light skinned. I think that the child is light skinned when we're talking about Aaliyah here. Aaliyah is light skinned to me. Okay, I'm not talking about like red bone, light bright, you know, extra bright light, but I don't think that she's brown skinned. I think that I'm brown skinned, and I just kind of feel like Aaliyah was lighter than me. But then, you know, when you look at some of the pictures she does look a little darker. Still not dark, you know, but people are saying no, she's brown skinned. I just have always considered Aaliyah a light skinned girl. People were saying that Zendaya is too light, and that ain't nothing that some makeup or a tan won't take care of. You can always make somebody darker, but you can't make a dark motherfucker lighter. Okay, you look crazy when you make somebody lighter and they, you know, and they're dark skinned person. Even that shit don't even really matter to me. I mean, when you start looking back over different roles that people have played, a lot of people didn't look like the person that they were portraying. Okay, it's all about the acting, and you know, people say she doesn't have the experience. You know what? Just let the fucking girl do the goddamn job. Okay, people just be so critical of everything. Let the girl get out and do whatever she's got to do, and just leave it alone. But yeah, y'all tell me though, do you guys think that Aaliyah is brown skin, or did you guys think that she was light skin? I mean, it don't even really matter at this point, but I just wanted to know if I was in the minority or the majority of the thoughts on Aaliyah. Y'all let me know down below. I was also told to retract the statement that the Notorious Biggie's son and Faith Evans' son together was not gay. He did not come out that he was gay. That original story came from Sandra Rose, who is an Atlanta blogger out here, and if had I known that the original story came from Sandra Rose, I probably wouldn't have reported it at all. I actually read the story on Funky Geneva and just went from there, but it came out that no, the boy was not gay. He just took a picture with, you know, an innocent picture with a friend, and Sandra Rose put her spin on it. No, Sandra Rose is known for being messy, and for certain people that she doesn't have a, you know, that she doesn't like, she will kind of, you know, spin a story, and a lot of times negatively. So that is that. I was ordered to retract that, and I'm doing so. We don't want to put those kind of stories out when they're not true. R. Kelly did finally speak out on his transgender daughter, the daughter who is now wanting to be known as a boy. And R. Kelly says, don't believe what you read or see. Well, we see the child dressing like a boy, and we hear the child saying that he want to be known as Jay. So, you know, we going directly from the horse's mouth here. This ain't no hearsay and everything. So, you know, I'm not gonna really get too hard on R. Kelly, because like I said, this shit is difficult, and this is a personal matter, and this is his family, this is his kid. You know, we can't expect him to be any other way. He might be in denial, or he might just want to not really say too much on the story right now. Whatever it is, I'm just letting you know R. Kelly did speak out on it finally. It ain't really changed nobody's mind though. That child wants to be known as a boy. And lastly, Mr. Chris Brown was expected to plead out on the case where he got into a fight with some guy up in DC during the Howard homecoming weekend in October last year. They were expecting him to plead out, and Chris Brown said, not so fast. There were a couple of reasons for that. The first reason is that he has always maintained that the other person was the aggressor and that he and his bodyguard fought the guy off of them. The second reason being that he did not want to read a statement that basically said that he was guilty to the public. Okay, Chris Brown is definitely already an enemy of the public already, so, you know, he was not really trying to, you know, admit guilt like that. And third, if he had pled out to no contest because that's what they wanted him to do, then that would have made him even more liable in the civil case and probably made him be seen as responsible and having to pay out this $3 million that this man is suing him and his bodyguard for. Both $1.5 million. Chris ain't trying to come up off no $3 million, okay? And for him to plead out, it would have made him look guilty, and that's exactly what he would have had to do. So I guess he was like, fuck it, let's go to court. He's decided to put it in the trust of the court's hands that they will, you know, not go by the persuasion and of shit that's happened with Chris Brown in the past, and only go by the facts and maybe the evidence that he did not attack this guy, that it was the other way around. So, you know, Chris Brown, what can we say? Chris Brown has been given a bad rap. However, Chris Brown has made some bad decisions. I think it's just time for Chris Brown to be on the upswing now. So I can't really say much else about it. I was just giving y'all an update on this case. He will be going back to court in September 8th. So what else can we say? Good luck to you, Chris. Alright, you guys, that's it. I'm about to go into Target and go buy me some couscous. You guys ever eat couscous and you just add a little water to it? I'm not really hungry, but I want a little bit of something, so that's what I'm about to do. You guys, we do this every single week, so make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Until next time, Roxstars. Bye.